Alright, what is going on, everyone? Bope here for week 1 of the PMPL. We are taking on Who in their Flipturn Freeways, the Alamomola team. Thankfully, they don't have an Alamomola on this team, because that would be depressing. But yeah, we originally were supposed to play Who in a different league called the LGA. Timing just didn't work out with my schedule, and we weren't able to play, so we're somewhat having a rematch here, but pretty much just our first match here in the PMPL. Unfortunately, this is coming in a bit of an awkward state. This is going to be a post-com, so please make sure, if you want to check out the live commentary, I would assume Who is doing that. Check out Who's video, as well as everyone else's in the description down below. A lot of really cool coaches, some that I've been able to play before, some that I haven't, and some that I've already been watching their content previous to this league. So just a really cool group that Trey put together. So really shout out to Trey for that. But yeah, the reason that this is a post-com is we had a bit of an awkward situation going on with this battle specifically. Just kind of getting into where I was at when this was going down. I was at camp, scout camp, for like a week or so I really wasn't doing anything Mons. I had done my prep and stuff, but pretty much I wasn't paying attention to anything otherwise. And prior to our match, or prior to week 1 being active, we had done a bunch of Grace transactions, which Who took a part of. They ended up being late on those transactions. There was a conversation had between Who, myself, and Trey, just whether those would be allowed or not. I initially said yes, and then Trey like jokingly said like something about pushing him off or whatever. And when I started doing my prep this past week, those transactions never got put in on the dock. So I just assumed, oh, that was actually serious, and we're not using those transactions. Hinting into that, Crocolore and Scyther were not originally on Who's teams. I believe it was Galvantula and something I'm not exactly remembering off the top of my head, but it was another lower point Mon similar to Crocolore. And then when we get into the battle, he's got Crocolore and Scyther. So we ended up playing this out. I really wasn't in the mindset to like give good commentary after that, because I was honestly just kind of mad about it. At the end of the day, it's Mons, so I shouldn't really take it too seriously, but it's week 1 of my first draft battle in like close to 3 months, so I wanted it to be a really good one. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, it was not the case, just because I was underprepared for Scyther and Crocolore. And honestly, looking at the team that I brought, I'll do like a quick synopsis of what I brought. Just a nasty plot, 3 attacks, 9 tails. This is a Fizz-Def Brambleghast with Rapid Spin, just to avoid any hazards that they might be putting up. They ended up, I believe Wigglytuff gets rocks, but otherwise they didn't bring any hazard setters. Toucannon is Terra Normal, one of my Terra captains here. Just looked pretty spammable. It's actually a special set with Boom Burst and Air Slash. I believe it had one other special move on there, but special Toucannon looked pretty good, just because their immediate answer to my normal offense was Spiritomb, which looked really good, especially when I didn't bring my Fairy type and Alcremie. Bronzong is Rocks 3 attacks, pretty standard there. Scrafty was Bulk Up, Rest 2 attacks, just meant to set up against things like the Spiritomb. And then Ambipom was Protective Pads, 4 attacks, just to avoid any Rocky Helmets that might be going around. But yeah, we're just gonna watch this through. I got it on 1.5 speed, so got a Crocolore. We're just gonna go through that real quick. Forgot to mute my commentary there, but yeah, we're just gonna go through the match pretty quick now. I ended up leading with my Bronzong here. Just kind of, I initially rejected the first match just to talk to both Who and Trey about it, and at that moment in time, I was just kind of wanted to get it over with. So I ended up just leading with my Bronzong just to get up rocks. Kind of the first thing I noticed is Spiritomb is really detrimental for me to deal with. I'm just looking at my team and like, I really don't have great switch-ins to the Spiritomb. One thing I was finding in my preparation for week 1 is that having Bronzong as my only rocker made it very limited in what it was able to do. So I actually ended up making some transactions after week 1 that went active for week 2. Little peek behind the curtain. I'm recording this right after, or a couple hours after, I played my week 2 match, so that's already in. He ends up going for Taunt on my rocks here, so pretty good play to start off. This ended up being I think it only had one attack. It was like Will-O-Wisp Taunt, a very passive Spiritomb, which I really couldn't take advantage of because my best setup mon, or my best 2 setup mons in Ninetales and Scrafty. Scrafty could kind of handle the Crocalor that he ended up bringing, but it really couldn't handle the Scyther. He actually ends up making a double into his Decidueye. I don't know if he was predicting a Steel-type move or what, but I ended up going my Toucannon here just because I thought he was going to go for a Will-O-Wisp. I ended up having 4th move Tailwind. It was just to get Toucannon faster than everything. But yeah, I don't see a great Boom Burst switching immediately, so I just wanted to get my my Throat Spray activated on my Toucannon. He ends up making a good play, just doubling back into his Spiritomb. I believe here I go for an Air Slash. I don't know why I didn't Terra yet. I think the thought process was I ended up missing. That was another reason why I ended up avoiding the live comm, is just because hacks was not great in this battle. I think there were like maybe a few more things, but that Air Slash miss was just kind of annoying, especially when I really needed all the damage I could get on the Spiritomb, and that he was going to be defogging with his Decidueye the whole time. So that was just really frustrating there. I think I ended up just going for another Air Slash there just to get my own damage on this thing. He's ended up going into his Slacking, which Slacking was allowed to Terror in this league. We're going to see the rest of the season if that's going to work out, called Low Tier God for a reason. I'm going to miss another Air Slash, which I'm not able to get any damage off on this Slacking. And yeah, this thing is Terra Stellar, so it's going to boost up any attack that it goes for. It does get the -1 in both attack and special attack afterward. At this moment in time, I want to click buttons. I want to just damage what's in front of me. Also, with the prep that I did not prep well enough for Slacking at all. I'll say that right now. I don't think I ran Protect on everything, or on anything, excuse me, which is not a great thing to do when you're facing Slacking. So Slacking is literally just going to click Terra Blast Stellar and blow me back. I'm going to Terra Normal here because I didn't Terra initially the first 2 times when I Air Slashed. Maybe that was karma in some way. But yeah, he's just going to go for a Terra Blast and knock me out. I don't think I had too great switch-ins into this anyway. I really wanted to save Bronzong for other stuff, and that was pretty much my best way. If I switched in Bramble hard, I felt like he could easily just go for super effective move right after that. But then again, like Slacking, it has to waste a turn anyway, so I'm just trying to figure out how I can take advantage of this one turn that Slacking is either going to switch out just because it's -1, or that it takes to heal itself. So I decided to go into my Scrafty. I'm just going to try and get a bulk up setup, intimidate it out, so it's definitely going to want to switch out after this. It's -2, it's not going to be doing much damage at all to Scrafty. And they're just going to pull a switch into Goat Tray the Wigglytuff. Now, I don't want to say I underestimated Wigglytuff. It was actually something I was looking at when I was initially drafting and everything. but I definitely thought that Scrafty could at least try and 1v1 this thing. This is why I'm kind of taking my time here. I'm trying to look at calcs, seeing how much like Dazzling Gleam, things like Draining Kiss are doing to Scrafty, because I'm close to max Speed F on this thing. I was intentionally trying to get to +2 and see if Drain Punch could 2-shot this thing. I believe it came pretty close if it was just Dazzling Gleam, but as we're about to see, it is Draining Kiss. So he's doing right under 50%, and my Drain Punch is not going to be doing enough. It does like 40, so it's close to, it was at least pretty physically defensive, and the Draining Kiss is 2-shotting it and went from 280 to 132, so it's a 2-shot. I'm realizing that now, and without poison coverage, I'm just Drain Punch and knockoff with rest. Yeah, I had to switch out here. I ended up going into Bronzong because he has no reason not to just go for another Draining Kiss. It's not going to do much to Bronzong. And he's pretty much forced to switch out here. The best thing I'm pretty much able to do is just try and get up my rocks again. If he doesn't hard pivot into Decidueye, I'll be able to at least get up rocks for a turn and try and get some damage on whatever is coming in. Fortunately, he just plays it the right way, goes into Decidueye. I'm going to try and do damage to this thing now with Psychic. Just try and push through this as he's getting his defog up. And when I go for a Psychic, it does not 2-shot. It's pretty much just right under, and it's leftovers as well. So it's putting me into a pretty tough decision here. I can either just spam Psychic while this thing is going for triple arrows on me and risking its secondary effect. Either, I can't even remember if it's minus defense or if it's a crit. He goes for knockoff, which does pretty much the same amount, maybe a little bit more initially. Gets rid of my leftovers, so I'm not able to heal up at all. I'm just trying to find some way to gain an upper hand. Just trying to find out some way that I can get either an offensive mon in without putting myself in a detrimental spot, or just finding a way to just find any opening. I'm trying to do that right now with Ninetales. I'm like, maybe he doesn't go for defog here, which he does, because me going my Ninetales here, I can go for a nasty plot and try and pressure the Crocalor, but without rocks. It's not taking rocks damage. There's really not much for me to do, so I try to make an aggressive play here, with him obviously trying to go into his Crocalor. That's what I'm predicting here. I try to go into my Scrafty. It doesn't affect with Intimidate with Scrappy. I try to go to my Scrafty to find an opportunity to get this Eviolite knocked off, just so I can do a little bit more damage. God, guys, doing calcs with Ninetales this past week, I was like max special attack, close to modest, this week with Ninetales. Yeah, I was not doing any damage, even with that much. Yeah, this thing was Clover Cloak. I really haven't put too much thought into what that was. If we have a rematch, though, I'm definitely going to ponder that a little bit more. Especially because I'm probably just going to have a fresh mindset into what I'd be able to bring. I just go Ambipom here because it's my best way into damaging this thing without taking extra damage on Broadsong. But he has a free switch into a Spiritomb here. This kind of goes on for a little bit, so I'm going to speed it up just a little bit more, just so we're not wasting too much time. We'll go 2x speed. I just go for a fake out here into a U-turn just to get some chip on this thing. I probably go into Bronzong after this to try and set up my rocks again, but just not to prolong this too long. I might cut off a little bit early just because he ends up just whittling things down in range for his Scyther, which looks really good, especially with my Bronzong taking a lot of chip from the Decidueye and just other things as well. I really had nothing to deal with the Scyther and the Crocalor. But there's nothing really we could do, just a miscommunication at the end of the day. and it kind of threw me off, but also just the two things that he ended up switching out ended up being two things that he brought, things that I didn't prepare for, and things that I really didn't have great answers to. Bulky fire types, when I'm not able to get up rocks, really tough for me to deal with, and Scyther is just really good in this format. It was honestly something I was trying to target just because base 105 speed, obviously when it's able to wear boots, just really good typing, even though knockoff is pretty prevalent in this format. But yeah, it ends up being a 6-0, unfortunately, because I'm not able to push through. I try and get some damage off with Ambipom at the end of the day, but he kind of just keeps going back into his Spiritomb, which I can't touch. No problem there. Not really anything I could do at the end of the day. But who's a really good player? Unfortunate that our first match ended up going this way, but as a Scyther comes in for the first time and I don't have rocks up, it was probably boots anyway. I didn't end up checking out sets because I didn't really want to affect too much of what he brought into what I brought. Just didn't feel like getting too much insight onto a team that I wasn't really prepared for. But yeah, I talked about two transactions that I made. I ended up dropping Terraminen and dropping off Dragonair. For some reason, I was under the impression that Dragonair got Coil. Maybe I was just blind when I was doing draft research or something. It does not. So it didn't really seem to have much of a benefit towards me, aside from just having the resistances that a Dragon type has, which wasn't really a problem for me at the end of the day. Obviously, just having multiple Terra types, I can kind of avoid those things. Plus, I'd rather have a Dragon that is more like offensively present, and that's just not Dragonair. So yeah, I dropped Dragonair, and I dropped. God, I keep missing him up. I had Plusle, I believe, the one that's pink. I ended up dropping that for Ampharos and for Tyranitar's middle evolution, which is Pupitar. So it's Pupitar's my new Terra Captain alongside Toucanon, and Ampharos perfectly swapped with Dragonair, which is kind of a surprise for me. That Ampharos was that low. Kind of weird, but hey, I'll take it. Ampharos is a really bulky Pokemon, especially with not a lot of ground types available. I've seen Star use it a ton. He's actually using it in JJDL Civil War right now. He's brought it a couple times. I know he doesn't love his team, but he's drafted Ampharos, and I had trouble with electric types in the first place. It didn't end up mattering, but I was pretty stuffed against Galvantula when I thought I would be facing it, so I thought it would be a good add, especially with, like I mentioned, not a lot of good ground types, especially with 115 base special attack is always something nice to have in this type of draft, with low tiers and everything. And then with Pupitar, it's another rocker. I'm able to get it out of its 4 times weaknesses, and it's relatively bulky with an Eviolite. It's not doing too much damage back, but having access to somewhat stab, earthquake, and rock type moves is pretty nice. So it's going to be another mon that I'm able to use both on the physical and specialist side of defense, and we'll see if we use it in other ways. But yeah, we're going to be going into week 2 coming up. Like I said, already played, but it's going to be the next one coming up against the Kippy in their Steel City Surge. Our first match playing against each other, so that's going to be really cool. But yeah, we're pretty much just trying to bounce back from a couple of mistakes on my end. But yeah, just a tough battle. But shout out to Who again. They were really nice trying to work things out with us. Again, I don't really hold anything against them for what happened. It was honestly just miscommunication on just all of our sides, to be honest. I'm just showing the end screen here. this slacking did clean up, so it ended up being a 6-0 in their favor. Shout out Sleeping Moltres. And yeah, so yeah, just keep an eye out for the rest of the PMPL battles. Just trying to bounce back after this week. Also, we are going to be releasing a BBR Summer Scramble assortment of videos coming out pretty soon. So just keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a draft analysis, just going over our roster of 8, plus the 3 matches that we've got going on. I know Keegan and Kaz are 2 of them, 2 familiar people with me in the community. Keegan is playing with me in Team Star for JJDL right now, and Kaz is pretty close with Dietite, and I'm also somewhat close with Dietite. So yeah, we're familiar with each other through Jason, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Make sure, once again, checking out not only the other coaches in the PMPL, check out our draft analysis, and also check out whose side of the battle. It's going to be a more put together video than this one. But yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. We will see you in the next one. Peace.